This is Benjamin and Sarah Allen Rowe's home in the village of McCammon. In the wintertime, we came in this house to live. In the summer, we went back on the farm to live. And my dad built this house originally.
Along with myself and my brother, older brother.
Yeah, the rest of the family.
Built this home. And Ernest Saxon, Merle's husband, did the finishing work inside all the coloring, varnishing.
And Alice's husband, our sister, Cal Cregan, did a lot of cement work.
Yeah.
We didn't have much landscaping here. And I went up to in the mountains and got a lot of these trees from the mountains and brought them down and planted them. That big willow tree in the back, I planted from a little stem from the ditch bank.
Oh, wow.
And now it's a big, tall tree. When I was a little boy,
At the end of this road. And it was a big, beautiful home, two-story home. The girls slept upstairs and had 2 bedrooms upstairs. And I don't know where you slept.
most of them were gone when we slept up there.
Mark and I slept upstairs and the girls slept in another bedroom. Out in front of the house, we had a big porch up there. If we opened the door to go out on the porch, and we slept there most of the summers. Built her a bed out there, and we had half the time we never used the stairway. We'd go up and down these posts that held the porch up, and so this is a part of that, and it's all gone now. That picture that Reed had shows the house that Dad built, and it was a beautiful home then.
Was the dry farm ground you had up on top of those hills over there?
Right up there, on top of
up here.
Dry hill cabin. What they call the cabin where you live when you put up on your land. That's the reason Bert came down here too. You toward the whole thing.
No.
We had an older orchard on this side. It was 5 acres. Here, he put in the orchard too. That was all fruit trees.
All this was trees, apple orchards,
And
so the peach orchard, or peaches and apples, every kind.
pears. And,
This is the beginning of the McCammon ditch.
Huh?
we'd go with Dad, I don't know whether Josh done that, but we'd pick a lot of apples, a lot of pears, prunes, apricots, and everything. And I'd go with him. We'd go to Lava Hot Springs, up to Bancroft, and all the farmers around the whole country would come here to buy their fruit in the fall.
Get a picture of this canal way up there in that, where the two mountains come together. They had to go that far to the Portneuf River to get the water to come out. And they dug the canal all the way along that mountain. And all they had was picks and shovels and a spirit level.
Spirit level and a long 2x4.
Heck. And they got the water down to their farms. And then other people wanted water, so they formed the McCammon Ditch Company. And H.O. Harkness and Ben were my dad was the president of the ditch company, and H.O. Harkness, the big shot in McCammon. He was the, I don't know, did he finance it? So they ran another tributary down across there and over into McCammon.
Well, he bought shares in it because he got one of the shares.
Yeah, they sold shares.
Yeah, they sold shares for the McCammon Beach Company.
And the canal corner is Dawson and Burtford milked the cows. So he was coming down from there and went off in a big hole, 40
He backed up Arden Christensen's potato cellar to get a load of potatoes.
Oh,
When he was backing out, there was loose dirt there. And this old Ford slipped and tippled right over into the river. Went clear out of sight. And when he looked up, he thought he was going to drown. And all of a sudden, he says, I just saw a light come down through that water. And he says, I just gave a push and went right up through there, just like a miracle. And he got out with no injuries. That was his conversion to the church. He was baptized then, and later on became a stake missionary. Did some proselyting up in Lava. Then he took Mother to the temple, which she'd been waiting for over 40 years.
all that part of it happened while I was on my mission. On my first mission. There, hill there, and I did, that was the year the flu was so bad, and I did plowing all fall. Schools were closed, so every day
flu epidemic.
I'd come up here to the farm. We were living in McCammon, in the old house there, and Dad and I were staying up here, and I'd go up there every morning, ride one of the workhorses, would ride pretty good, so I'd ride the one up, take the others up, took it on the plow, and I'd plow all day, and come back down here. And that particular day, in November, it was the 11th, and of course I didn't know what date it was then, but I just started out. I'd been plowing about an hour. I'd get up there and go to work about 10 o'clock, and it was 11 o'clock, armistice time, and all bells, and whistles, and horns, and everything down the cabin. You could hear them up there just easy, go down in the cabin, and I finally said to myself, let the war go. So I unhitched the horses, jumped on one of them, down over that hill I came.
Our oldest brother, Vern, was in the France at that time. He'd enlisted when he was, when the war broke out. So he was over there all the time during the First World War. In the anti-aircraft division, where they
he was on the
shoot down the airplanes.
defense of Paris. The Germans had guns that would reach clear into Paris. At the time the war ended, they at that time had those big guns that shoot from where they were stationed right into Paris. And of course, he was on that defense. They finally controlled it. When they controlled it at that time, the war was over. So
We had a picture of Vern with his group. That great big long gun pointed up there. They had those old flat helmets on in their army clothes. They were all looking like this. The only wound that Vern got was from a shrapnel.
His wrist.
When the bombs fell close to him, and the shrapnel went right across his. He had his.
An old-time boarding house, and rented right down below that road that we came up on along the track. That was the original part of town. You know, they had a regular store there, sold that. And just this side of that was a saloon. And then the Valley House was a boarding house.
Who owned that?
Well, Dad bought it.
All that up there was your dad's land, huh?
Oh.
Billy Watts owned that. And he was quite a wealthy cattle grower. And during the Great Depression, that lived over here was a cattleman, and he'd been trying to buy that farm, and the real estate man in Pocatello didn't like getting it, so he went to sell it to him. So when Eileen went in, we were just starting to look. We told him about the went there when Grandpa was alive. I was only 7 years old. But they both lived down there, and she was still alive. And then he died, and then I was about 8 years old, and she was living here. And this is where the funeral started, in this house here. But my sisters used to come over and stay with her, especially Alicia. Spent a lot of time over here with Grandma. And so I came over here 2 or 3 times, and I rode in the old blacktop Surrey over from here over cemetery funeral. I can remember that very.
She died in 1912. I was 2 years old, so I can't remember much of Grandma and Grandpa.
And what was her name?
Her name was Rebecca Ann Pope Rowe.
And
How long did she live in the cabin there? The house?
I imagine it would be about 4 years, because her husband,
He died in 1907, wasn't it?
about 1907, and she died
in 1912.
12. I think that would be correct, because I was first, when I went to their place and they lived down there together, I was probably only about 5 or 6 years old.
That's
And then
the second son of
Uncle Truman,
Brother and
He lived right down in this area here.
yeah, right there where that house is.
and he bought
Our old barn is still there. He built that barn. Uncle Truman built this barn. The house is different right now. He used to have a pretty nice house right where that one sits. And one day there's a big rainstorm, and he just bought a new Oldsmobile car, nice, pretty white one. He had it in the barn shed there, and he came out and pulled it out so the rain would wash it. And on his way back into the house, there used to be a gate right there where that basketball court is. And as he went through the gate, there was two little trees on each side of the gate. And the lightning struck and came down the trees and right down through him.
Yeah.
Killed him instantly.
Hit him right in the head.
He had a watch on, and where his watch was, he had a burn spot on his chest. And he had boots on, and where the nails of his soles was, he had little burnt spots on the bottom of his feet. Our mother's father,
Grandmother.
What was his name?
George
Allen.
George Allen.
And,
They lived over here in a little town called Robin up on the bench here, right at the mouth of that big gap that goes through the mountain.
then they moved to
That's-
McCammon last.
That's where they lived when Dad, I guess Dad lived here in this place and he got acquainted with her, started dating her, they got married, and then they moved out there and homesteaded 160 acres. They built a little shack to live in while he was building the big house, start clearing sagebrush. They homesteaded, he and Joe Marley rode over on their horses one time in that valley we just looked at there. Picked out the land where the sagebrush was growing the tallest, and they staked it out. Both of them took out 160 acres. And I guess Mother, after they got married, they lived in a little one-room shack he built while he was building that big house there. Lived there, I guess, I don't know how long. Do you remember, Paul?
No,
But they had to go clear to the Portneuf River to carry water in buckets.
yeah. So we got the ditch down
They got the
I guess that's pretty good incentive to dig a ditch.
Yeah.
Then he started digging a well. It was about 4 feet across, and they lined it with lava rock, clear down about 60 feet.
60 feet down.
Lined it with lava rock. And he got a pump to put in there, a windmill, and they had water.
Windmill, so the
That was
wind,
before they got the ditch dug, huh?
Shall we go?
and then,
Yeah.
I guess the only